So today I'm gonna be changing coolant on my 2018 Honda CB650f. I believe it's same on 650R or CBR 650, but not sure. Probably is. So the first thing to do is remove this part of the fairing. And to do that, you need to remove this screw and that screw right there. I don't know if you can see it, but that shiny thingy, that's the screw, and this screw. Okay.
So this is what it looks like when the part is off. So there's one of these clips that, you know, this thing goes in, and these I don't know what Velcro type things that you just like wiggle it out of. And there we have the radiator cap now. Okay, let's see how it comes off. So it's just like any other radiator cap. You just spin it and it does not come off. Ooh, or does it? Yeah, it did. Okay, so there it is, and it's up to the neck. The coolant is blue. Alright, now the next step.
Okay, so the next step is make sure you're wearing gloves because coolant is not skin friendly, I guess. That's what I've heard. So the next step is, let me shine a light. Okay, let me shine here. See this bolt right here, the one that I'm touching. You need to open this one in order to drain the coolant. And the size of the bolt is M5. And shit. And I don't know where I put it. Up here. Size of the bolt is M5, so that's what goes in that bolt, and you use that to unscrew it. Okay, let us get started. I'm gonna use a long extension. Okay, oh shit. And the blue stuff is coming out. It wasn't too tight, so you don't need anything. You don't need any breaker bars or anything. But the flow pattern is messed up. Okay. There you go. Right. Good thing I'm wearing gloves. Seen a lot of videos on YouTube, everyone makes a mess during coolant change, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it without any mess, and I did make a mess, but it's not too bad. Wait, that's it? Okay, alright, so I'm gonna let it drip from there, and then after that, next step is we loosen this screw right here, and there will be some coolant in the radiator that will come out. Okay, sorry, I missed one step. So before that, we need to drain out the coolant reserve. That's usually that is here. So the exact steps are to take off the coolant reserve tank and then drain it, but that's too much. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take the cap off and put this siphon hose in and siphon out as much as I can, and yeah, and that should be good. Yeah, because it's a fairly new motorcycle and the coolant that's coming out is in really good shape, so even if some is left in there, I'm not worried about it at all. Okay, so I'm using this thing to siphon out the coolant because yeah, I don't want to use my mouth to do that because, well, coolant is probably not edible as long as no. Let's see if it works. Okay, so this thing didn't work, so I had to use my mouth, but yeah, just make sure that none of it goes into your mouth. So yeah, just one end in the reserve tank and just suck on the other end, and as soon as you see the coolant come out on the top end, just make sure the other end is lower than the top end, the one that goes in the reserve tank, and the gravity will do the work for you. And yeah, and so it will just come out on its own. So after that, just make sure that you put the cap back on it. You don't want anything to get in there to get your new coolant dirty. Okay, so the next step is you open this bolt right here. Apparently it's called the air bleed bolt. Make sure that your pan is under it because it's gonna leak out more coolant. Oh, that was so loose. Ooh. Oh shit, there's a lot. Okay, there we go. Yeah, just get ready to move your pan with the flow of the coolant because what the hell? This is what the bolt looks like. There, and it's coming out. Okay, that's a lot. Alright, I'm gonna let it drain. Okay, so after bleeding it from that bolt, so we're gonna put the drain bolt that was at the bottom, this one, back on. But before you do that, make sure that you take this washer off and put in a new one. So yeah, whenever you change that, just make sure that you put in a new washer. And if you do not see it on the bolt here, make sure that you check it out on there just in case it's stuck there, or either that or it fell into the coolant. So yeah, just make sure that you change that and then put it back. And the torque for this bolt is about 5 foot-pounds, so which is really low. So just hand tighten it, and yeah, just don't tighten it too much, and that's pretty much it, because you can't really measure torque that is so low. So for the washer, a long time ago I ordered these so many copper washers from Walmart. So the one that fits really good on it is this size, M6, yada yada yada. So that's the one that fit up here really nice, so I'm gonna use that and put it back in there. Okay, so for the radiator coolant, it says to inspect at 12,000 and 16,000 and 24,000 kilometers. Just inspect it, not replace it. So it's been this bike has 19,000 kilometers on it, but it says replace every 3 years. So it was a 2018 model and it's 2020, end of 2021 now, almost. Well, it's the 7th month, so yeah, so it's almost 3 years probably. So that's why I am replacing it, and it says to replace with only Pro Honda HP coolant. So I bought these and it takes about 2.5 liters, and I bought 4 just in case. Yeah, you would only need 3, but I bought 1 extra just in case I have to, I don't know, for whatever reason. So in Honda bikes only use Honda coolant. That's what they say. Yeah, that's what they also say about the engine oil. So I'm gonna follow their directions because they made it, they probably know it. And before filling it back up, do not put this, oh shit, oh man, where you go? Here, okay. Yeah, so do not put this bolt back on yet. So what you're gonna do is start filling it from the radiator cap, and when it starts bleeding from here, that's when you put this back on. Okay, so here it is, Honda cooling. And okay. Oh, it's blue, same color. Oh, wait, never mind. Wait, so that has no point. I don't know why the other guy in that video said to wait until it comes out from here. Okay. So I put it back on. Okay, now where's my screwdriver? What the? Ah, yeah. Okay, so that's back on. I'm gonna continue with filling it up. So just filling it up. You don't really need a funnel because these containers are pretty small, but you can use one. You can never be too careful. Okay, so that's all gone. We want to move on to the next bottle or container. I don't know, what would you even call it? I don't know. Okay, so I'm on the second container and it's almost empty, but it shows full up here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bleed the air out of the system. So yeah, just to make sure there's no air in there. And it's good. So what you're gonna do is put your bike in neutral and start it. Leave it on for 2-3 minutes. Okay, let me put it in neutral. Okay, there you go. So in neutral, you start it, leave it on for 2-3 minutes. After 2-3 minutes, you snap the throttle 2-3 times and keep an eye on the coolant. It should go down, probably will go down, and then fill it up as needed. Oh man, oh shit, that's loud. Can never get sick of that sound. So yeah, so it is going down. I'm gonna leave it on for 2-3 minutes, and then I'm gonna snap the throttle. Okay, so it started coming out at the top. Don't know what that's about, but I see some bubbles coming out too. So after 2-3 minutes, they say to snap the throttle. I'm gonna do that. Bubbles coming out though, so I'm gonna wait till they're done coming out. Okay, so as soon as I turn it off, the coolant level went down. Okay, so I'm gonna add more. Okay, so just make sure that it's filled up to the neck, up to this point, and then put the radiator cap back on after giving it a few minutes. After starting it and turn it off, then give it a few minutes, you will see some bubbles coming out. So that's the air coming out of the system, and you put that cap back on, and then do not forget to fill up the reserve tank with the same coolant. So there's an upper reading and lower reading, so just make sure that it's in the middle. Do not go like to the upper. You don't want to overfill it, and don't underfill it either, so just keep it in the middle. So there's not really an easy way to fill it up because you can't really put a funnel up there. So I'm using this long ass funnel, and I'm gonna hold it at an angle so that I can put the coolant in. Or you can make one, with an aluminum foil and use that to fill the reserve tank. And just make sure that you put the radiator cap back on, put this back on, put the I forgot the word, the fairing, the right side fairing back on, and go for a ride. And and if you see that it's overheating, then it means that there's air in the system. So just make sure that you come back and do not open the radiator cap. Do not even touch it when it's hot. So give it 2-3 hours to cool down, and then open the radiator cap and do that air bleed procedure again. So leave the radiator cap off, turn the bike on, leave it on for 2-3 minutes, and then snap the throttle 2-3 times, and then turn the bike off, and then just leave the cap off and give it about 5 minutes, and it should air itself out according to the service manual. And then put it back on, and it should be good. Okay. Just because the manual says that it takes 2.5 liters of coolant, but mine took about 2 liters. So if that happens with you, don't be worried about it. It's because we did not bleed the hoses. So I did not do that because my coolant was in really good shape. Nothing was wrong with it. It was clear as much as it can be. So, but if your coolant is kind of bad and you want to make sure that you take every bit out of the bike, you from the right side, take off this hose, pull it out. Take off this clamp, pull off the hose, and you drain it into your pan, and then put it back on. And then same thing over here. You take off this clamp, pull out the hose, and drain it, and that will take out all of the remaining coolant that is in your bike. Okay. And make sure that you recycle the coolant properly. I emptied it out in that can, and I'm gonna take it to my town's recycling center to recycle. And yeah, just make sure that you keep it away from kids and pets, because apparently it's sweet and they like it, but it's not good for them.